It's time to break down what went right and what went wrong during this week's game. Severe Reaction is on the air with your host, Michael Severe, and the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction starts now. Powered by Nebraska Medicine and Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
Two to the near side, two to the far side. Dillon looks over the defense. Now brings the tight end Workicher back as a wing. Snap back. Final play of the game. Dillon Stets throws toward the end zone. The ball's in the air. It's intercepted in the end zone by USC. Picked off by the Trojans, and that will end the game. And USC has beaten Nebraska today, 28-20. What an effort by Nebraska today. A lot to like by the Big Red, but they're going to come up one score short, and now are 5-5 on the year with a home game next Saturday with Wisconsin.
Tough result. I thought the guys laid it on the line, play here or play there. Even on that last drive, the ball goes through our hands, they catch it, get the first down. Just, really in the first half, two big plays for them that went through our hands resulted in a touchdown, the play to get us down to the 6-yard line. So, I kept trying to calm the guys on defense down the sideline, saying, hey, guys, this game's going to come down in the fourth quarter. We all know it is, and it did. So the credit to Dana, to be able to come in after a week and be put in those situations, and even at the end trying to move the ball, final plays, fourth down. What I do know is that will only get better and better and better. I think offensively, you're just now beginning to see the genesis of what I know will happen.
Happy Sunday morning. Welcome to Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking seriously, and Nebraska Medicine, where they'll take care of you and your entire family. I am Michael Severe. Joey chooses violence to start the show. He could have gone with a nice, positive, happy play for Nebraska to get started with. He could have gone with like a touchdown, or
we'll see something later.
The one touchdown. He could have gone with that. He could have gone with a wonderful field goal by John Hole or something. But no. He chooses to start the show with the end of the game, the loss, the misery. You choose violence on a Sunday morning. It's a Sunday morning.
I mean,
Joey.
That's the summary of this season.
I know. You got no choice, but I mean, you had a choice, actually. You could have gone with something a little happier. You could have gone with something. We could have saved the misery of the end to the end of the show.
Well, I'll send you something for the next segment. You'll be happy for the next
Okay,
one.
all right. Well, I look forward to the next segment when we don't choose violence to start the show. Welcome again to Severe Reaction, coming off of a loss to USC, 28-20. Nebraska goes out to L.A., new offensive coordinator, new hope against a new starting quarterback, Jaden Maeva for USC, and they fall. It's tough, man. I mean, again, I've said this before. I've done this show in different incarnations over the course of the last, I don't know how many years. It's deja vu all over again. We've used that phrase earlier in the year. But the most frustrating thing about this team, and there's a lot of things. First of all, we're gonna break down three things. We're gonna answer three questions. If we do nothing else this morning in these 2 hours, we're gonna answer three questions. The first question is, what's the deal with game management and clock management? What is the deal with that? Because it's not just Saturday. This goes back to last year. You got Maryland games. You got Iowa games. We're going to figure that. We're going to break that down. 2, was the offense better? Was the offense better on Saturday with the new offensive coordinator, tweaking the scheme? Was it better? And the third question is Nebraska's defense good? Those are the three questions we're going to answer throughout this 2 hours. We don't get to anything else. We'll get to some game keys, what went right, what went wrong. We'll take your phone calls at 402-951-1620. We'll do all of that. We're going to answer those three questions. What is the deal with clock management, game management? What is the deal with that? I used to always joke. Damon used to get mad about this. I always joked You can grab me a 13-year-old who plays Madden or EA Sports and put them in charge of the management of the game, and they would figure it out better than some people who are the head coaches getting paid millions of dollars to do it. And it's not just Matt Rule. Coaches throughout college football and the NFL have had to hire individuals to help them with game management, clock management, when to call timeouts, when to go for it on fourth down. There's the old analytics community. All of that is there, right? All of that's there. I get that. But too many times now, watching Nebraska football over these 2 seasons, I've thought to myself, that was a poor choice in terms of managing the game. Not just, you know what, that could have gone either way. Like, no, that was a poor choice. That was a head coach or coordinators or whoever's in charge at that moment. The choice they made was the incorrect one. And that's not hindsight. In the moment, you're like, okay, this is a point where you go for this. You're sitting there. You're down 1. You're in decent field position. You've actually run the ball well in the third quarter. And I don't know what they finished with, but at one point, Nebraska had 7 carries for 60 yards in the third quarter, running the ball. They were a good clip of running the ball. You already knew that you had in your back pocket, Heinrich Harburg and the zone read. You had that in your back pocket. And you're sitting there at 4th and 3, and you decide to first maybe fake a punt, maybe get them to jump off sides, maybe go for it, maybe any of those things, but in the end, you do none of them. Game management, clock management, we're going to discuss that. We're going to figure that out. I'm going to look at the offense. I can look at what they did yesterday. I can look at what they've done all season, and we can make a legitimate comparison. Is this offense better? Was it better yesterday when they scored 13 offensive points? Or has it been better before that with all the complaining we did about Satterfield? And then in the end, you have to make plays. How many times has Matt Rule said it over the last few weeks? Guys have to make plays. You have to make plays when they're presented to you. You knew coming into the game that Jordan Mayeva would give you opportunities to make plays. You knew it. And early on, took great advantage of it with the pick 6, ran it back, Sierra Wright goes home, gets a touchdown, took advantage of it. He had the fumble. But in between all of that, he probably threw 5 or 6 interceptable balls, turnover-worthy plays, as they call it now in the world of analytics. And did Nebraska make the plays on any of those? One off of a helmet, one through their hands, 2 times guys missed time jumps. Those are plays that are given to you to make, and you don't make them. My overall question for this team, and for you as the Nebraska fan base, at 402-951-1620, why is it so damn hard? I used to joke years ago that this team was like Cialis. They make everything hard. Well, we're back to that. Nothing comes easy. Nothing is. So you have a point in games where you can see a rhythm develop on an offense, or a rhythm develop on a pass rush, or a rhythm develop on whatever. Great example is if you watch the Missouri-South Carolina game. These are 2 teams battling for, mid space in the SEC, 8-2, 7-3, something like that. You're in that situation, right? You got Missouri with a banged-up quarterback driving down to take the lead for the second time in the fourth quarter, leaving about a minute to go. And what South Carolina proceeded to do was go 6 plays, length of the field, in like 50 seconds to get the lead and eventually win the game. Making it look easy. Had a couple incompletes, had a couple nice passes, had a shot play. And then when they get in the red zone, you know what the hell they did? They scored a touchdown. They made it look easy. There's a great line from one of my favorite football movies, Any Given Sunday. It's halftime. They're in the locker room. It's Jim Brown. Jim Brown is on the blackboard, and he's talking to the defense. And he says, we make this easy. He curses. We make this easy for you. This is easy. Nothing that Nebraska has done or are doing looks easy. I don't know whose fault that is. You could tell me it's not enough talent. You could tell me that it's a coaching issue. You could tell me that it's an issue with players who have lost so much that they don't know how to win. But in the end, they don't make anything look easy. Everything is so damn hard. Which drives me. I watched parts of 30 games yesterday. The great thing about Nebraska being on the road, I'm not going to the game. I'm watching all these games. I'm watching a full slate early. I got the Nebraska game on. I got a 4 box next to it. I'm watching those games. Afterwards, I'm watching games. Every team I watched did something that I went, oh, that's what they do. That's what they are. Whether it was Wisconsin battling their asses off against Oregon making a key play late on a tip ball to end the game. So many Penn State getting a late score to get to cover because, James Franklin knows the number. Whatever it is, Boise with Ashidenti or whatever it is, each of these teams have something they fall back on and they make something happen. For Nebraska, the special teams played well yesterday. 2 more field goals for John Hall, made his extra point, did a block field goal. Did pretty well in the kick game in terms of kicking off. The one time they didn't kick in the end zone was a 35-yard return. They did give up a short punt return. But, overall, special teams played pretty well. Didn't win the game for them. Didn't make a play to win the game for them. Frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. But we're going to answer those 3 questions during the show today for sure. But let's go to your phone calls, 402-951-1620. We start this morning with Gary. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Hey, Michael. Frustrated like the rest of us. I have 3 burning questions.
Okay.
First one is, I lost my train of thought already. Why are we waiting till the last 3 minutes of the ball game or so to get Jalen Lloyd involved in our offense?
Hell of a question, Gary.
2, why, if we're supposed to be making adjustments at halftime, are we still allowing her, number 7, defensive back, cover a guy that's 8 inches taller than him? And 3, I think referees should be fined and suspended without pay for a game when they cannot see how pass interference caused us to possibly lose 2 touchdowns. And what was my last? My last one is, hey, Tuesday night when you do your Big Red wrap-up, ask Jay Moore if he gives out golf lessons.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Later, buddy.
All right, Gary, thanks a lot. So let me go to your first question. The fact that Jalen Lloyd had 2 targets in the game is criminal. There's a couple of sound bites, and we'll play, Coach Rule as we go along in the morning. There's a couple sound bites where he's talking about beating man-to-man coverage, right? He's talking about making a play. What's better than maybe the fastest guy on your team running past their secondary to make a play? What's better than that? You want an instant man beater? You put Jalen Lloyd in motion or put him in the slot where he's not going to be a guy over him and send him on an over route or on a fade. That's a beater for you right there. The first pass thrown to him is on the last drive, and it's kind of a desperation throw where Raiola is under pressure and he throws the ball down the sideline. By the way, if that ball's inside, it's probably a touchdown. But he had to turn, Jalen Lloyd had to turn his body to kind of look for it over the other shoulder. And then, of course, the catch, he makes a 24-yard catch to extend the drive and give them a chance to at least have a shot at the end zone. But that's it. Those were his targets. Emmett Johnson had 7 targets. Now, one of them resulted for a touchdown, 29 yards. That was great. The other 6 accounted for 7 yards. 7 yards. I understand that at times you want to be able to have a dump-off pass or an outlet. I get that. But you have too many guys. I want to talk about these guys are covered. These guys are covered. You don't think the guys on USC were covered at times? And they still threw the ball to them. That Deuce kid is 6'5". Give him the ball. Twice Banks was covered and they threw the ball to him and he caught it. He had 5 catches, 55 yards. I knew that offense that Dana Holgorsen runs, the two guys that are going to get yards, your ex-receiver and one of those slots, I thought it'd be Barney and Banks. Barney only had 2 catches, but Banks had 5 catches, 7 targets. That's what you want to run. You got to make that throw. I don't care what you think is covered. What's covered when you got a big wide receiver and he can get his body between the defender and you, that's open. It just is. You got to throw that ball. And too many times, didn't happen. And then the red zone. Dude, here we go again. You're in the red zone. One, you have to be able to run the ball in the red zone. If you can't run the ball with your quarterback, like you saw USC do, you got to run the ball with your running back. You got to run the ball with a wide receiver. You got to be able to run the ball because everything's condensed. It's not as easy to get guys open. Although I will tell you, Jamal Banks was wide ass open. Wide open. On the left side of the field, they ran the same route they've been running, confused USC. He's standing there. Raiola looks at it for a second, comes off it too quickly, and looks to the other side. Well, you've got 3 wide receivers to your left. That's probably the best chance you're going to have to get a completion. And for whatever reason, he turns the other way. There's too many times. And again, he's a freshman. He's played 10 games. I understand all of that. But he's a 5-star. He's the guy that's supposed to be able to make those plays. He has to see that. He has to make that throw. I'm not just saying that because I had Jamal Banks anytime touchdown bet. No, I'm not just saying it because of that reason. It's part of it. But still, I was watching Jamal Banks every time they were inside the red zone. That throw's got to be made. Hell, he made the one throw down the sideline that Jamal Banks had falling out of the bounds when he's getting mugged by the defender. Those are throws you have to make. Now, why wasn't interference called? I have no idea. Why wasn't it called on the last play? Part of it is they don't like to. Officials will say they don't necessarily want to decide games. But when it's that obvious, you have to make that call. On those 2 plays, the one to the left sideline where Jamal Banks is being mugged and he tries to catch it. And I thought his knee actually was down before his elbow. I thought that was a catch, but they reviewed it and said no. And then the other side, at the last play of the game, that's obvious. You can't let him just grab the jersey and pull him back like that. He can't come back to the ball. The definition of pass interference is altering what the wide receiver is doing, and you're doing that to the point where they can't make a play. If you're doing that, whether you're turning the guy or grabbing the jersey or pulling him down, that's an easy penalty to call. But for whatever reason, Nebraska didn't get that call. We're going to take a break. We're going to start answering those questions. First of all, the first one we're going to attack is game management and clock management. We'll get into that. This is Severe Reaction brought to you by Equitable Bank, where they take banking personally and answer the phone in the first ring, and Nebraska Medicine, where they take care of you and your entire family. If you're thinking about applying for a job at Nebraska Medicine, just go to their website, look up employment. You can do that there as well. We're back here on 1620 The Zone.
Telling you, I almost spoke it into existence. You can see it coming. He's making his mind up. Nebraska's going to get one.
3rd and 11.
You better be careful here. You're going to get a pressure package from Nebraska.
Marks back in there. Mayava in the gun. Wing to the near side. Snap back. Has some time. Steps, throws down the field. The pass is intercepted. Picked off by Sierra Wright to the 30, 25, 20. Sierra down the near sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sierra Wright with a pick 6 for Nebraska. And the Huskers have taken the lead on the road.
Speak it into existence. The pick was coming. He gave us one. It's easy math. 1 + 5 is 6. Give me all of them.
This will be a 27-yard attempt from Michael Lance. Snap down, kick is a block. Huskers block the kick. So the Huskers will take over after the block field goal attempt. It's still a 1-point game. It might have been Sierra Wright off the edge who had the pick 6 earlier in the game.
I know how much this meant to him. He stopped me in the locker room on the way out of here and just shared a couple things with me from him, which I'll leave to him to say. But I'm happy for him. It's a chance to come home. He's from here. He's played against those guys. He's been a great addition to not just on the field, but in the locker room as well. I think he's a really, really, really cool young man, and just happy that he made those plays. And that extra point block was huge, right? I mean, that field goal block was huge. That changed. That could have changed the landscape of the game. So.
Welcome back. Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Michael and Joey, and your calls 402-951-1620. The caller in the first segment when he talked about number 7, Malcolm Hartzog. Yeah, he had that. First of all, he fights hard. He is, out of all the guys back there in the secondary, at least I know he is going to give you everything he has. I get that. Now, is he going to make every play? No. Is he going to make some mistakes? Yes. Is the ball going to get thrown over his head? Yes, occasionally. But he plays hard. There's a play on the first touchdown, the run by Zachariah Branch, near the sideline. I have no idea what Tommy Hill's doing on that play. Tommy Hill's got to come up, and he's got to push him out of bounds. Zachariah Branch is not a big man, okay? He's quick, he's elusive, but he's on the sideline. Tommy Hill comes up to him like he is not sure if it's tackle football or if it's touch football or if there's a flag involved. I watched that play like 5 times. Like, what are you doing? You've got to come up there and put him out of bounds. Now, I know maybe they still score on that drive, but that can't happen. So at least Malcolm Hartzog, I know, is going to give me everything. Is he undersized? Yes. Should he have probably picked that ball in the end zone, the throw to Deuce, the high throw? Yeah, he probably should have picked it. Probably jumped a little too soon. But at least I know he's going to play hard. And that's why those guys play. I know they practice well. I know the coaches look at the film and go, that guy plays hard. I'm going to play him over somebody who maybe doesn't play as hard. That's why Sierra Wright is playing like he is, or getting the playing time he is. Because the kid comes in, he makes plays, he's aggressive. Sometimes he's overly aggressive, and, it's burned him a couple times, but most times it works out for him. That's why he's playing. Not everybody back there can be said. Not everybody back there is playing up to their level. I'll tell you, 2 and 8 certainly aren't. I don't know what's going on with 2 and 8. I don't know if it's injuries, age, or what. But those guys aren't playing like you'd expect them to play. So again, that's why Hartzog plays. I understand. I remember when, Ciante Evans was back there, and people were like, well, he's too small. Courtney Grigsby, he's too small. Well, you know what? Those guys play hard. And they do make plays. They don't make every play, but that's why those guys play. Let's go back to the phones. 402-951-1620. That's where Bob is this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for the show. I want to get back to that point you just made about the talent. We have starters that have been in there and are still in there, yet they're not producing for us. Coach Rule said earlier that he's going to do whatever it takes to win one of these next 3 games.
Yeah.
Would that call for putting in other people that really want to play, or do we just not have the talent to make those changes? Thanks, and I'll listen to the call.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. I was talking about this yesterday on a text with another guy who covers Nebraska football, Mike Schaefer, actually, and that was one of the things we were talking about. There's a lot of young guys back there in that secondary. Some guys who have moved over from the offensive side of the ball. There's a young Caleb Benning back there who's got games he can play and not lose his red shirt. There's a number of guys. And if a guy back there is hurt or just isn't as athletic as he used to be because of injuries, and both struggles with making the correct read and then making the play, you've got to move on to younger guys. I understand. You've got guys back there who've been here for 6 years. It's a long time. They've committed a lot to this university, to the football program. I understand that. But they can't make plays. You got to move them out. It's just the way football works. It's a meritocracy, right? It's the ultimate one. You earn what you get through your work, period. If you're not doing the work, you don't earn the play. They showed that replay again of Tommy Hill. I don't understand that. What was he doing? Anyway, if you're not making the plays, you don't play. That's the way football is supposed to be. Let's go back to the phones before we take a break. Let's go to Scott. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
I don't know. I'm kind of frustrated now after watching that highlight again of Tommy Hill coming up and not making a tackle.
I get it. It had a little Travis Hunter to it, but enough on that. Hey, your points were so good about making plays. When you put that out on Twitter, people always fire back. Well, that's coaching. Coaches are who get guys to make plays, but you still got it. You still got to execute. And just a couple examples. You gave a couple examples earlier. The pick in the end zone is a big one. Dowdell had a nice run early on. I think he just has the safety left.
Yep.
I thought if he busted right, that's a play where you line up 10 really good backs, and probably 7 of them will bust that for 6. Right, that's a big play.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the ball, here's the difference making the play. The difference it makes on the fumble. Their quarterback, we're gonna take that in for 6.
Yep.
Their quarterback on his stomach gets a piece of an ankle, and he makes a play, and that we go from 7 to 3 there. So that those little things matter a ton. And the last thing I'd love to get your input on, Michael, is I didn't think our first down defense was great. Very few tackles for losses. They were in a lot of second and short. And I don't know whether our line got pushed down a little bit, looked like. I don't know if our backers got to spots early enough, but would love to get your thoughts on just first down defense parts of the game. Appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. You too. Actually, USC averaged 4.4 yards on first down. So it wasn't great. I mean, that's average. That's where you want to be. And I will tell you that the average third down play for USC was 7.3 yards is what they had to go. So, yeah, actually Nebraska did pretty well in the early down success rate. They weren't bad. So 2 of the really big plays, I think that's what you're thinking about. 2 of the really big plays for USC were on first down. So maybe that's what you're thinking about and why you see that. But they were 10 of 13 for 51 yards on first down passing, and they had 18 rushes for 84 yards rushing the ball on first down. Nebraska actually had 14 for 7. Nebraska averaged 5.6 yards on first down rushing, and SC averaged 4.7. Nebraska actually had the advantage there and actually had 54 yards passing on first down, and USC had 51. So I know sometimes because you see a couple of big plays on first down, it feels that way. But overall, for the day, USC didn't have better first down production than Nebraska did. But early on in the game, they certainly did, and Nebraska ended up battling back. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into game management and clock management, all of that, here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
and a really good game.
And which team will buck the trend of their poor second halves?
Both teams head to the locker room. A 14-14 tie. Our halftime coming up next.
We were gonna fake it if they sent out their punt return team, and then because they kept their punt safe out there, and then I just felt like, hey, we should go for this. You know, it was right in gray area there, so we lined up, and if they gave us the look we wanted, we were going to take it and go for it. If they didn't give us the look, instead of throwing another go ball, I was going to punt the ball down and let the big guys go play. And I think at the time it was a 1-point game, so I felt good. It was 4th and 3. It was 4th and 2 or 1. I would just gone for it, but it was in that gray area in between, and I felt like, hey, taking a 5-yard delay a game wasn't going to hurt us. So went to run the fake. It wasn't there. Called timeout. I said, hey, let's go for this. Dana came up with a play call. If it was going to be all 0 blitz, we were going to throw a go route. Didn't want that, so I said, hey, take the delay. So kind of a unique set of circumstances there, but really was just trying to make a play there and trying to extend the game. It wasn't there. Called timeout. I said, hey, let's go for this. Dana came up with a play call. If it was going to be all 0 blitz, we were going to throw a go route.
Welcome back. The reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Sometimes, and I can't remember what movie this is from, but I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I listen to what he's saying, and I hear the words, and I have a decent understanding of the English language, and I kind of understand what he's talking about, but at the same time, like, what the hell are you talking about? What in the hell are you talking about? In case you don't remember the sequence, it's 4th and 3, the 38-yard line. Nebraska sends out the punt team. Apparently, they are going to try a fake. Here's something that I learned. I think this was 8th grade. Pretty sure it was 8th grade. The 8th graders, they would take them over to wherever you were going to high school, and they would take you to the practice so you could watch the practice of the high school you were going to so you could get a better idea of what they did. So there was a linebacker coach, Coach Burnich, crazy man, and a crazy teacher as well at De La Salle High School, where I went to high school. Anyway, I remember him saying sometime, he said, if you can't do it with your best, then you can't get it done. It's a simple statement. If you can't do it with your best, then you can't get it done. It's 4th and 3 at the 38-yard line. What is your best? Is your best a fake punt? Is your best getting them to jump off sides? Is your best maybe lining up in a pistol with Heinrich Harburg and the option to be able to give the ball, keep it, or throw it? Is that your best option? Is your best option Dylan Raiola with a quick turnaround pop pass to a giant Thomas Fidone? It's not a fade ball. I guarantee that. That's definitely not it. If you can't do it with your best, then you can't do it. That's what comes out of that for me. That whole statement he just made. You waste the timeout, which is sacred in the second half. And then when you do line up to get them to jump off sides, do you get under center? Do you try to get them to jump? Do you do anything at all? No. It was absolutely inept. It was a 2 minutes in my life I will never get back. It was horrible. All right, let's go back to the phones. 402-951-1620. Good morning, Tony. How are you?
Michael, good morning. I'm going to try to be sane and make clear what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to say some comments real quick. I'm going to tell you a story about what happened yesterday, why I'm even more upset.
Okay.
So I don't believe rule's the guy. To all you donors who donate money, I don't do it anymore. God bless you. You are not getting your bang for your buck, and I truly am sorry to all you donors. You deserve way better. And finally, I am tired of hearing we're snake bit. Create your own luck. And here's what happened yesterday, Michael. My wife is an ASU grad, and I told her, I said, hey, it's a nice day. Let me show you what it used to be like to go to a Big 12 game. So we hopped on the road literally at 2 o'clock. She got tickets through ASU.
Yeah.
And we went and watched a program that's got guys like Scadaboo and Levitt and Turner, guys who really put themselves out there, and a coach who has got the same tenure at his program, which has far less resources than Nebraska. And I watched very few people there from ASU, as you might expect.
Yeah.
But I watched a team go into a hostile environment, a place we know very well, and they did their business, and it quite honestly wasn't even close. At the end, they got close, but it shouldn't have been. And then to make matters worse, I look up at the press box, and I see Big 12 champions, 02, 05, 22. I see 3 championships. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a program I remember when I was a kid that was in Sports Illustrated, or possibly they were going to get rid of football at Kansas State. So now I'm thinking, well, now there's 2 programs I'm watching that are better than us. Now, we haven't won a conference championship since 1999. And I wonder to myself, how the hell did we get here? When did this happen? Because right now, we are not on a road that's going to take us to anywhere near. And I know people are saying, well, Indiana's not doing it the way we want to do it. Colorado's not doing it the way you want to do it. What about Arizona State? Are you kidding me? At what point is this madness going to stop? At what point are we going to finally figure out how to not get in our own damn way? This is absolutely insane. I can't believe what has happened to this program. I just am absolutely flabbergasted. And it's just a great morning, but man, it's a frustrating morning for a Husker fan. And I don't think I'm going to go next week. I don't think that program deserves my time and my money to sit there in 40-degree weather. Although I love my Huskers, I love that stadium. I can't convince myself to go if I don't think we even have a chance in the first place. Maybe I'm a bad fan, but I don't think so. But man, these other programs, they're doing it. So I don't want to hear any more excuses. And unfortunately, Michael, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe you do. You have a good morning. You
too, Tony. Thanks for your phone call. Kenny Dillingham is doing a hell of a job in year 2. Went into a program last year, was struggling. Went 3-9, had a couple close losses, turned it around 8-2 this season, 5-2 in the Big 12. I keep a list of the last 3 years, basically the new portal NIL years of 2022, 23, and then this year. And, there's a number of coaches that went into programs, Bill O'Brien, Manny Diaz, Jed Fish. And that was a restart at Washington. Trust me, they replaced a lot of people. Mike Elko, second place he's gone to now and quickly did what he needed to do. And obviously we know what Curt Cignetti has done. But, yeah, it's frustrating. I understand that. I say go to the game, Tony. We only get a limited amount of these. We only get a limited amount of these Saturdays where you can go and commiserate with 80,000 other people who are following the same thing you're following. And you got a smaller version of that at church. You got a smaller version of that maybe at PTA. You got a huge version of it in Nebraska football games. And so you go, you put your stuff on, you go down there, you wait in traffic, you do a little bit of tailgating, and you go to the game, man. You go to the game and you celebrate the last Saturday, home Saturday of the 2024 season. You go there, you do that, and you enjoy it. That's all I can tell you. I understand it's frustrating, Tony, but you go to the game, man. You go to the game. I mentioned the situation that happened with the timeout, punt, get him the jump, whatever else. Other things. Dylan Raiola sliding short on first down. I know he's coming off the back injury, but you just can't do that. Players got to make plays. He's got to make that play. They caught another punt inside the 5-yard line, the 4-yard line. How many times have you seen Nebraska get ready to try to make a big play and the line false starts before it? How many times does that have to happen? How about the first sack of the game? The left side of the offensive line was on a different snap count than everybody else. How about that? How about this? End of the first half. I understand. You're calling that timeout after USC couldn't get a first down. You're going to try to block the punt. I get that. At the same time, you need to get the hell out of there. That first half was beginning to fall apart on you. And they got lucky that something crazy didn't happen with the punt down at the 1 yard line. You bring Heinrich Harburg in there and he pushes it through, but something crazy could happen down there. You have to make better decisions, whether it's the clock, timeouts, or just pure game management. It's not good. It's not being done well. It's not being done like a coach who's been doing this as long as Matt Rule has. This is something I know that can be a real blind spot for coaches. We always mention Kurt Ferentz for years struggled with this. There's a lot of coaches. The Rams coach is one of the best young minds in professional football. He's produced all these coaches off his coaching tree. But when it comes to timeouts and late game situations, he's brutal. So sometimes you need help. And I honestly believe that Matt Rule needs help in this situation. He needs help. He's not getting it. Let's go back to the phones where Andrew is this morning. Good morning, Andrew.
Hey, what's up, guy?
Hey, what's happening, Drew?
Nothing much. Then why are we paying Rule so much? I mean,
it's the going rate. It's the going rate. Let me tell you something real quick. So, like, for years I covered education. I was an education reporter, and I remember somebody saying to me, "Why are we paying this school superintendent $100,000 a year?" And I said, because everybody else is paying their school superintendent $100,000 a year. So that's why.
That makes sense. But I mean, if he gets help, can he just? And I think you hit on something about coaches need to learn, head coaches. He's great with the kids. He's great talking. Could he just be the face of the program and not necessarily the mind of the program?
Well, he is the CEO. I would say he is the CEO, but at the same time, he's one of those CEOs that has his fingers in everything, in every aspect.
But does it need to be?
That's the way I don't know. I mean, if that's the way you do it, I don't know if you can do it a different way.
And I guess it is next year a make it or break it year for him.
I would hope not. I think if I'm not correct, I think it's an 8-year deal with everything as a part of it. So I wouldn't say next year is a make it or break it, unless you're talking about going, 3-9 or something like that. But I don't think it is. I think you give them a full 3 years, see what your program is, and evaluate after that. That's what I think. That's what I would do.
Okay. I mean, there's just something that's not going right.
No, definitely.
And the fake punt idea or whatever that was just brutal.
It was inept.
Terrible to waste the time out like that.
It's not just that. It looked bad. Like, purely, if you brought somebody in and goes, hey, just watch this sequence, and they would go, these people don't know what they're doing. That's what they would say.
Well, and if you looked at that fake punt thing, Raiola was like almost, I don't know if you noticed it, he was like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, he was telling them to just stay still and don't jump. Instead of getting up there and trying to get them to jump by clapping or getting under center or something, they just stood there. It made no sense.
Yeah, it's hard to watch Nebraska football anymore. It's just hard to watch Nebraska football.
Yeah, I know.
And people are going to quit watching it if results don't change.
Yeah, you still got a full generation who is fairly young, but the next generation, my kids, that age group, yeah, you got to win, man. Those kids want to see winning.
Yeah, I mean, you're close to Nebraska football becoming irrelevant. That's the state of Nebraska.
That's every AD's fear is apathy and irrelevancy. Yep.
All right, thank you, Severe.
All right, have a great Sunday, Andrew. Real quick before we we have another break, right? Yeah. Before we take another break, Eric, stay right there. But so into the game, one more clock management, game management. End of game. Nebraska gets the ball at 2:45 left. You got 2 timeouts because you burned one. That's fine. You got 75 yards to go, and you got to get a 2-point conversion, right? Okay. So I don't know how you felt. I didn't feel they were going to go down and score. I just didn't have that confidence in them. And I'm usually the person that always says to myself, "Here's what they need to do, and they'll do this." That's me. I have a positive mentality when I'm thinking what a team needs to do. The first play, yes, let's come out with Heinrich Harburg and let's run some zone read. It's a 6-yard gain to Emmett Johnson. Nice. Let's go. Creative. You got 6 plays on that drive that were either incomplete or gained 3 or fewer yards. That is not how you go down and you win a game. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, South Carolina gets the ball, 59 or a minute to go. 6 plays, touchdown. 2 incomplete passes and a bunch of positive yards, touchdown. 1 explosive play. Jalen Lloyd puts you in position to be at like the 15-yard line to take a shot in the end zone in 5 seconds. And what's the next thing that happens after a timeout? After a timeout, false start. Again, a false start. I just don't know it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And you can point to the fact that Jamal Banks was interfered with, and he was. But you got to win games yourself. You have to make plays yourself. You have to put on your boots, pull them up, and go out, and whether it's walking through crap, whether it's walking through the valley of the shadow of death, you have to win it on your own. Ain't nobody else gonna help. Ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you, and ain't nobody gonna help you. You gotta win it by yourself. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Eric, stay right there. We'll come back. We still got to get to, was this offense better than it was before we brought in Dana? Is the defense good? Those are the other 2 questions we want to answer on the show today. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get right to you, Eric, when we come back here on 1620 The Zone.
Mayava hands out, gets a snap, looks middle, and going to be rushed, rolls out. And Ty Robinson grabs in, the ball is loose. The Huskers pick it up. Mekhi Bear gets the fumble. Robinson forced it. Huskers have it at the SC 16-yard line. Second turnover of the day. Made those 3 at Ohio State. Has not attempted one since that kick. Snap down. His kick is up, and the kick is good. And Nebraska does have the lead at 17-14.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. I remember the one, we threw the fade down the sideline, and they reviewed it. We felt like they brought 0, so he threw it to where it's supposed to be. Gave Jamal a chance to make the play. I guess he ended up out of bounds. So he was kind of, the guy was draped all over him, pulling him down. So on the other one, we ran a mesh concept. Looked like the guy flashed open. But a lot of things happen. So I think probably, I'm sure if you asked Danny, probably maybe there's a call here or there he'd like back. But I think a lot of the things were just they were going to get the ball in the playmakers' hands and have them make people miss and kind of goes back to the statements I made to you guys. You call the plays, give guys a chance to make a play. They're going to go make a play, and we'll continue to work on making more plays.
All right, welcome back to Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Joey's the producer. I am Michael. We go to the phones. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm in Los Angeles and went to the game yesterday.
How was the crowd?
It was a lot of Nebraska people there, and it was kind of loud both ways. I mean, it was there was a couple of things that were surprising to me. I look at the SC sideline, and those guys were really, even though they're 4-5, they were pretty amped up, and Nebraska's side looked just kind of dead. I don't know why they don't have more enthusiasm. You don't get a lot of these games, but what I really wanted to get to was we played that little piece there where they got the fumble.
Yeah.
That was the most frustrating part of the game for me, and that's what told me that I didn't feel like anything changed. We had a 3rd and 3 maybe at the 10 or the 8, and instead of bringing in Dowdell or whatever, going to something heavier and running it to get a first down and running the ball to try to get a touchdown, we did the same thing we've always done. We throw it on that in that situation and get nothing, and end up having to kick a field goal. And I had nothing much looked different to me yesterday, other than that they threw to the middle of the field a little more than they have. But right now, Rule has gone with, excuse me, he's gone with 2 guys who are completely almost opposite to what he said his philosophy was coming in here about wanting to run the ball for 75 yards in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. It's frustrating to watch this, like you said about the deja vu thing. It's getting old. So many of us are out here. We spend money following this team, and we get the same product over and over and over. And I don't know.
It's frustrating, Eric, is you're talking about that 3rd and 3 from the USC 9. They ran a play to get a guy open, and Banks was wide open. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, Dillon comes off it early and tries to dump it off to Emmett Johnson. They lose yards, but they ran the right play. The play's open. I don't understand. I don't get it. That's what's frustrating to me. The play's open. You got to make the play.
Well, and at the end, when they were trying to score to tie the game, they had Barney. Because we were sitting in that end zone they were coming towards. They had Barney coming right down the seam open. And even the SC fans around us were like, oh, crap, that 17's open. He didn't even look at him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Frustrating doesn't begin to explain it all, but thanks, and have a good one.
Hey, you too, Eric. I appreciate it, and it's awesome you got a chance to go to the game. I'm sorry it was so frustrating for you. We'll take a break. We got hour number 2 coming up. We'll get into, is the offense better? We'll take a look at some of those numbers and answer the question, is the defense good? We'll do all that in hour number 2 here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
Johnson the back. 2 wideouts left. 1 tight to the formation of the near side. Straight back is Raiola. Has some time. Throws over the middle. Pass caught. Splitting the defenders. Emmett Johnson to the 10 to the 5. He is in there. Touchdown, Nebraska. Emmett Johnson makes a catch. A little short dump over the middle of the field. Race down the near sideline. And Nebraska right back within a point. Cardoni motions, or Lindemeyer motions to the near side. Turn. Heinrich Harburg's in there. The quarterback takes the snap, runs off the left side, and he blasts his way across the 30-yard line. So Heinrich taking the snap, running around the left end. And a nice game.
How about the changeup?
2 eligible each way. Snap back to Dillon. Has some time. Steps, throws down the field, has a man out there, makes a catch. Jalen Lloyd at the 14. Bumped out of bounds. Huskers will get a shot at the end zone now. Good grab by Lloyd. Got whacked after he made the catch between the 13 and 14-yard line.
Such a tough competitor. Haven't called his name until now. And watch him go get this. This is what he does. We saw it last week.
Yeah, I think what Dana's done is amazing. I mean, in such a short amount of time. And the first half, we only had 28 plays. Part of that's, when you score on defense, kind of flips those numbers. But we had a couple opportunities, to maybe make a little bit more. And we didn't do it. But just, the verbiage, the language, the timing, the ease with which guys got in and out, and guys that, haven't maybe touched the ball as much, made some plays. Although, Janier and Bonner today, did some really good things. So at the end of the day, offensively, they played man against us, and we just we're trying to find ways to win versus man. We have to find more and more ways to win versus man. And I think that was really at halftime kind of some of the things that he was looking for.
Hour number 2 is a reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Joey on the board, answering your phones. 402-951-1620. Talked about beating man, Jalen Lloyd. Speed beats a lot of things. Speed makes up for a lot of things. 2 targets for Jalen Lloyd, both in the last drive. Made a clutch catch on the sideline. Went up and got it. Hell, got both feet in. Where was that? Where's Jalen Lloyd, man? Why? Why does it? You have to wait till that late in the game to have one of your most dynamic players touch the ball? Was the offense better? Dana Holgorsen's only had about a week. They had it a long time. But I can tell you this, based off of numbers purely, Nebraska scored 13 points on offense. Nebraska's averaging long scrimmage plays in games, 13 a game. They had 9 versus USC. One of the worst stats for a team that believes they should be a running team is they have just 8 rushes for 20 or more yards. Just 8. They had 1 yesterday. They have 8. That's horrific for a team that says they're going to be a running team. I think it's the 5th worst in the Big Ten. And they have none over 40. It's, again, 1 yesterday. Passing-wise, plays over 30 yards. They had 2 of them. They were averaging a little bit over 3. They're averaging 9 a game, total. They've been getting, in terms of 10-plus yards on passing plays, they're getting about 9 of them a game. They had 7 yesterday. 4.9 yards per play. What are they averaging? 4.8 on the season. Pretty much the same thing. Points per play. 0.317. I told you, got to be over. You want to get up over 4. Minimum. 0.308 for the season. Almost the same. Averaging 21 first downs a game. They had 19 of them. They're now 11 touchdowns and 11 interceptions on the season for the team. 7.1 yards per completion. That is brutal. You don't even see those numbers when you go through the stat list for anybody else. That's brutal. Their yards per attempt yesterday, if you put it into the year, it'd be the worst in the country at around 5.1. Only 4 drives crossed into your opponent's 40-yard line. Really out of 10, because you can't count the last one and a half. So I'm going to go with just 10 of them. It's not good enough. So I can answer the question. No, the offense was not better. Certain things happened, yeah. Maybe the ball got out faster in a couple times early in the game. Maybe the plays came in faster earlier in the game. But by the end, on that last drive, did it look any better? I know it's only a week, and I think a lot of Dana's schemes are good. I really do. And we saw a couple of those during the game. You had the release to Lindenmeyer. That was a nice play. You had a couple run plays inside with some stuff they were doing with the guards. Looked good. But overall, again, in the red zone, struggled? No, it was not. The answer to that question is no, it was not better. Okay, let's go back to the phones. It's where John is this morning. Good morning, John.
Oh, okay. Good morning.
Hey, John.
Look, I just want to. I've harped on this before, but I heard your guy on the after the game show yesterday. I think his name is Nick.
Yeah.
And he made reference to the fact that we were joking about we had this 24-year-old wide receivers coach or whatever, you know, and I've said it before. I don't know. We seem to have this mentality, and I'm probably getting off your subject, but we have this mentality in Nebraska. We build these facilities.
Yeah.
We have, we're constantly being told, if it ain't the best, it's in the top 5. We got the best facilities. We got the Pinnacle Bank. We got Memorial Stadium. We got the new football thing and all that. And then when it comes time to hire people to work in those places, we don't go out and get the best and the brightest. We bargain shop. I mean, I know they're paying real good money, but I don't know where this mentality comes in that Nebraska is a place where coaches come to learn their craft. Nebraska should not be a place where coaches come to learn their craft. We should be, if you're going to be a big dog, you got to play like a big dog. You got to hire the people that can come in. No more Tim Miles basketball coaches hiring and that sort of thing. And to even take it a step further, does anybody ever think that Fred Hoiberg is going to get this team to the point to where they're challenging for a Big Ten championship 2 out of 3 years? We got all this going on, and the investment is there. And look, I'm down here in Louisiana. My investment is in watching the games, paying for the internet, that sort of thing. But come on. Am I not making sense?
No, John, you're fine. I understand. I appreciate your phone call. I will say to you, where are you, John, in Louisiana, by the way?
Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay, Red Stick. John, I would say to you this. You hired a head coach who believes in hiring a young staff who is going to work hard, who is going to grow into a great staff. That's his goal. And so that's what he's always going to do. He's not a guy who's going to hire a lot of experience. He'd rather have young guys with fresh ideas and who have a great work ethic. That's what he wants.
But he just went out and did the exact opposite with the
that was
offensive coordinator.
Desperation. Desperation does crazy things, but that's not normally what he does.
Are we not putting ourselves in that position to where we're getting to begin with? I mean,
yeah.
I understand that's his philosophy.
Right.
And at Temple and at Baylor, that's great. But if he was at Ohio State or USC, for that matter, or whatever, that people are going to go around and say, oh, okay, yeah, you bring in somebody that's just out of college or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, no, they're not going to go for that. So he needs to understand that this is not Temple, okay? This is Nebraska.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what, if it keeps going this way, there won't be much difference, unfortunately.
Yeah. John, I appreciate the call.
All righty.
Yeah. No, I understand. I understand John's point. I mean, I remember looking when they were making the hiring, and I said, well, they had $9 million or whatever, and they didn't spend it all. And I thought that didn't make sense. You got all that money, why don't you spend it? But brings in a guy like Garrett McGuire. He trusts Garrett. He thinks Garrett's a young and up and comer. I think he's going to be a really good recruiter, so that's part of it. The other guys he worked with or he had on his staff or played for him, I don't know, man. I think when you're hiring coordinators, you need to spend a bunch of money on your coordinators. Then when it comes to position coaches, you need to find guys who can recruit. Yeah, you have to coach them up, but you got to find guys who can recruit. That should be the goal. Let's go back to the phones where Don is this morning. Good morning, Don.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm excellent, bro. There's a whole
Nah.
lot to break down, man. They left a whole lot of meat on that bone, bro.
There is a lot of meat on that
And
bone.
it's like all over college football, though, because like you said, they had 8 runs in 10 games, right?
8 20-plus runs in 10 games. Yes, sir.
And then you go against a Woody or you watch what an AJ do, and you say, man,
Yeah.
if we just had a guy, you know, and it ain't necessarily a guy, right? But the thing that struck me yesterday, right, was you remember the personal foul where a guy takes the guy onto their sideline?
Oh, yeah, sure. Stafford Thompson did, yeah.
But their whole team moves out the way, bro. Nobody's trying to catch this guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's after the fact, then that's when they get the penalty. But then I seen Colorado had a guy go in for a touchdown run, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who this guy is, but everybody is celebrating and happy for him and for them. So, you know, I just think, man, that they got to find a way to play together. But now the option on third down, but, you know, the one I really need to ask you about was when they lined up number 2 in like the slot tight end or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and he did a cross pass and Deuce got loose, right? Who was supposed to catch that guy, bro? Didn't they know that he was like one of their best players?
Oh, you talking about the over route for the touchdown?
Yeah, well, he kind of was like in a tight end or a slot.
Yeah.
But he did like just a slant or a cross across but nobody,
Yeah, so
like he ran through the zone.
that was Gifford. No, it's man, and Gifford is supposed to pass him on
That
to.
couldn't have been man. This ain't Temple.
They were in man, and Gifford had him, but since he was running the over, Harzog was supposed to pick him up, and they didn't communicate, and that's what happened.
I think that's got to be a terrible defensive philosophy.
Yeah, they got to communicate, man. They got to, especially on an over route like that, they got to communicate.
Hey, man, I can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
Or bring this thing up to you or ask you about this, right? And it's about being a beat writer, right? Because you was a beat writer before, right?
No, I was never a beat writer. I worked for the news station. I was a TV guy.
Yeah, but you got a lot of experience with those guys and
Sure.
post games and all that.
Yeah.
Now, the coach said that he was waiting on the beat writer to start the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, because it was bad. That stadium is horrible. Getting around in that stadium, so they were taking a while to get down there. Yeah.
Oh, you're making excuses for him, bro.
I'm not making excuses for him, dude. That place is horrible. Have you been there?
Down there before the beat writer, bro? Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, he was there before, I'm sure, but it's hard to get out of that press box and down into there. It's brutal. That place it's a dungeon.
Yeah, but I'm saying most of them guys told us they was gonna get 8 wins, bro.
I know. Or 7.
And the last thing I want to say, man, is I do think that it would be helpful for the new OC and the quarterback to get some bowl reps, bro. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Thank you, bro.
No problem, Don. You have a great Sunday. I appreciate that. Take a quick break. Josh, stay right there. We'll come back to the phone calls at 402-951-1620. It's Severe Reaction brought to you by Equitable Bank when they take banking personally. And Nebraska Medicine will take care of you from when you're a little one to an old one here on 1620 The Zone.
Marks the back, turn, fake the handoff, throw it the flat, pass caught by Branch, sprints by a Husker into the end zone, touchdown SC. From the Husker 12, Mayava awaits the shotgun snap. Back in the pocket, looking left, throwing left toward the end zone, man out there, pass is bobbled and dropped, incomplete. Oh, he caught it. Hudson held on. I thought I saw the ball pop out, but Hudson backpedaling, caught a ball that was tipped in the air and held on to it. SC's in front now, 13-7.
No, that's the worst thing that could happen is if I start feeling snake bit. I feel like I've been entrusted to coach the program, and I'm trying to help us break through. And, anytime you break through, you punch something, you want it just to open up. But you just keep punching until finally it breaks, right? And so, yeah, we had some plays go against us. We also turned the ball over down inside the red zone twice, and we came away with 2 field goals. So, I think the more that we continue to develop offensively under Dana and some of the things that he did, I think the better we'll be. And then, again, that was a frustrating play, but they made the play. I mean, it's like the ball in the end zone, that I'd like to see us pick that ball off. So they made some plays. They're great playmakers, and we'll continue to work.
Welcome back to Reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Nebraska falls 28-20 to USC. They're now 5-5 on the season with 2 remaining, including Wisconsin next week at 2:30 in Memorial Stadium, the final home game of the season. Joey, it's Sisyphus, right? That's his name. What was the dude that pushed the boulder up the hill and then it rolled back down in the Greek mythology? That's Sisyphus, I believe. Something like that.
Not sure. I'm not familiar with all the Greek.
Well, that's what Nebraska is. They're that program right now.
Mm-hmm.
He said breakthrough as his phrase, and that made me think about it. Because every time they roll the boulder, they're rolling it up the hill, gets to a certain point, it rolls back down. And then they go back down there, they start rolling it up again, and it rolls back down. Thing is, eventually, it rolls over you, right? And then you get a new coach. And that coach starts rolling the boulder up the hill, and it comes back down. Then eventually, again, the boulder rolls over that coach, you move on to another coach. It's more than just the coach. It's more than just the players. It is a systematic, program-wide issue. What it is, I don't know. I've been here 22 years. I have no idea. I just know this. It's more than everything that we're talking about. It's also the defense, which we'll get to in a second. Let's go to Josh. Josh, thanks for holding. What's up?
Hey, not much. How are you this morning?
Pretty good, man.
Hey, I got 2 parts. I'll do it real quick and I'll hang up. First part is the tight ends.
Yeah.
So last year, Fedoni was the guy. This year, he hasn't really been the guy. He looks lumbering, doesn't block well. And then we get to see Borkircher and Lindenmeyer. Both look more explosive. Both are obviously better blockers. Sat has been saying that for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Why are we not giving those guys more chances? Second part of this is, at the beginning of the year, Raiola was clearly number 1. I mean, was just head and shoulders above the rest of the room. But there's been a serious regression. And at this point in the season, are we even sure he's better than Heinrich? And don't you think that it might be worth it going to Heinrich for just the run threat alone? I mean, he's a guy that can pop off for 65 easy. And so the defense is going to have to account for that guy. So you go from 11 on 10 to 11 on 11. That's going to open up more of the offense for you. And then you add in that Heinrich is not afraid to throw the ball downfield and push it downfield. We saw that against UCLA, and it kind of opened up the offense there at the last 2-minute drill. Just want to get your thoughts. I'll hang up now. Thanks.
I appreciate it, Josh. I want, so there's 2 things. One, your future is Dylan Raiola, right? So you got to make the decision based off of winning one more game and maybe getting more production with Heinrich Harburg, especially in the run game, or developing that quarterback to be your future in 25 and 26. That's the debate you have to make. That's why head coaches get paid a lot of money. I thought that last drive, I thought when they led off with Heinrich Harburg and they came out and they ran that zone read and Emmett went for 6, I thought, oh, here we go. They'll get down the field this way. And it was just a one play. And so, no, I think using Heinrich Harburg a lot more to get the run going. I don't think you all of a sudden just put him in as a starter again. I don't think so. We saw how many turnovers he had last year. He is a turnover player. It's what he does. It's part of his game. But I understand needing to win one more game and playing the best players you have to win one more game. I do get that. But then there's your future. So for me, I think you keep mixing in Heinrich Haarberg. You use him. I think there's so many things you can do with him to get explosive plays. But you're right. The reason why Nebraska had so many explosive run plays last year, a big part of that was Double H. He was the one making those happen. Let's go back to the phones where Andy is. Good morning, Andy.
Hey, Michael. How you doing this morning?
Okay, man. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you while I'm raking leaves. So I'm combining two really unpleasant things: leaves and reliving this 4 hours of madness.
Yeah.
With this team again. So I got that for me.
Yeah.
Hey, just a point I've been thinking about. We haven't seemed to be the same team since the first half of the Colorado game. That first half was incredible, and then we haven't looked the same since. But you can see the difference in really good coaching with the trajectory of these two teams since that game. And I know Husker fans don't like to hear this, but Coach Prime is doing a job with that team to take them from how they looked that game against Nebraska to now have 8 wins, and they're going to challenge for a Big 12 championship potentially. So just curious to hear from you what you think what's happened since that first half when, man, everything was clicking and we've gone the way we've gone and Colorado's gone the way they've gone. So I'll hang up and listen, but thanks for the show.
Hey, Andy, I appreciate it. Good luck on the leaves. So this is not making any excuse or hating on Colorado. I would rather play against the schedule they played against, that Big 12 schedule, than what Nebraska's playing against in the Big 10. I'm saying they're doing a great job. They have 2 of the top probably 5 players in the draft. They have a bunch of guys on that defensive line who are NFL players getting coached by one of the greatest defensive line coaches of all time. I know he's not the D-line coach. He's an analyst, but Warren Sapp on that having him is a great asset to them. They got talent all over the place in terms of skill players. Playing that Big 12 schedule certainly helps, but they've done a lot to turn around the mentality they had last year of losing to the mentality of winning. When they're put up against it, like whether it was Texas Tech 2 weeks ago or it was last week or yesterday when Utah made a couple plays, they bounced back from that. Nebraska, for whatever reason, doesn't bounce back as well from bad plays or disappointing plays. That's probably the most disappointing thing of the season is that's something I thought Matt Rhule would be good at, making sure that when something went wrong, they bounce back better from it. They have not done that. Colorado, on the other hand, I've seen all their games. Every time something goes wrong for them, whether it's defensively or offensively, it's a pick in the end zone, whatever else, they come back and they bounce back from it. It's like their short memory, right? And that's what you have to be. And he's done a very good job with that, with this team, along with having an NFL quarterback, the Heisman Trophy winner most likely, and several wide receivers who are very good. I mentioned just a lot of talent on that team, and that certainly helps to win. One more call before we take a break. Let's go to Mike. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Michael. Good to talk to you. Hey, listen, real quick, and I'll hang up and listen. Did you watch the Wisconsin game last night?
A lot of it, yeah, a lot of it.
And what do you think our chances are? I think it looks better. Their quarterback, not very well, not very good. And have a good Sunday there, Michael. Go Big Red.
All right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. No, I thought all along, no matter what happened yesterday with the way Wisconsin played against Oregon, that Nebraska's a good shot. I think that they should be able to run the ball better. I think they started developing some stuff in the second half against USC, stuff I think they can do against Wisconsin. Braden Locke is, he's what he is. You watch them play against Oregon. A lot of times after those games where you give everything you have in a game where you're right there, I think it's going to be hard for Wisconsin to get up for that game at Nebraska. And so Nebraska's got to jump on them early. They got to get an early lead, and you can take Wisconsin out of the game, I think, if you get out to an early lead. But, man, Wisconsin fought yesterday. They fought their butts off. They were hitting. I've watched Wisconsin play probably 3 or 4 games this season. I have not seen them hit the way they did yesterday. They were flying around, making plays. It was – and then they ended up losing the game. And so I wonder where they'll be. That line's probably either Nebraska – favored by a point or Wisconsin favored by a point. It's somewhere in there, depending on what you do in terms of home field advantage for Nebraska. We'll take a break. We'll come back, HV. We'll catch your phone call. Severe Reaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and Nebraska Medicine as well. We're right back here on 1620 The Zone.
They're going to go shotgun out of this. 4th and a yard from the 47 of Nebraska. Huge play. 6:12 left in the game. SC 21, Nebraska 20.
Yeah, I like the front here.
Marks is the back. Twins go right. Branch in motion. From the Nebraska 47. Snap back, fake the handoff, option pitch out to Marks. He's got the first down, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15 down on the 13-yard line. They option to the short side, and Marks goes for 34 yards.
So that is a heck of a play call.
1st and goal, ball between the 2 and the 3. Marks back in there, 21-20 SC, getting late. 1st and goal to 2, Marks back there to the right of the quarterback. Mayava turns, gives it off to Marks. No, he keeps it himself, and touchdown. Jaden Mayava from 2 out, and it's a 27-20 SC lead. And what a drive that began back at their 16-yard line.
To be quite honest with you, I was going up and down the sideline saying, hey, guys, they're going to win the game in 4 minutes with the quarterback running the ball. I expected them to do something of that ilk. I can't say that I thought it would be the speed option. I thought they were going to pull the ball and have the quarterback run it. It's a credit to our interior, front, but it was a great play call by him. And I'll have to go back and look at the tape to see what exactly happened. Anytime you run those plays, we're in man. We have someone for everyone. So I'm not sure exactly how it unfolded because we had to snap the ball the next play. But
welcome back. Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Years ago, you may remember Nebraska's playing Missouri, and someone in the stands has a giant salt shaker, and then they have this other thing that's like a wound, and they're shaking the salt onto the wound. Bad enough that 4th and 1 they convert it for that long, but it's on an option. It's a short side Frank Solich called option. Salt in the wound on that play call. Not only did they get the first down, but they ran your play that was run so many times by Nebraska over the years. They ran that play to do it. Oh, salt in the wound. Let's go back to the phones. HV, what's up?
Good morning. This is HB from Cali. I was at the game.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about my voice. I probably have 2 points. I think the personnel grouping when it comes to the pass run game, they have a personnel grouping of I think it's Borkature and
yeah, I'm listening to you.
I think we're the personnel grouping of a certain personnel grouping where they don't pass out of. It's more like a run personnel grouping with the receivers that could block.
Yeah, they do that with yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right. So when you bring in that personnel grouping, I mean, it's elementary football right there. You don't even there's no risk of even a passing game out of that personnel grouping.
Right. So they bring in Bullock and they have Borkature in. And then usually they have one of the other big wide receivers in. The majority of the time they run out of that. So what you want them to do? You want them to run play action out of that, like they did with Lindenmeyer when they threw the ball to him?
Right. I mean, you at least gotta attempt to pass out of that personnel grouping.
Sure. No, I agree. How was the game overall, HB? Like atmosphere?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I felt like I think there was more Husker fans in the building.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was. I mean, for us, it was. I felt like it was a home game, really. You know, but my last point is because my voice is messed up. Is that when we got the turnover on the 16-yard line? I mean, I know Emmett was having an okay game, but so was Dardell. And you got a bigger back on the 16-yard line, and you're running a smaller back. I mean, I thought that was Dardell's situation.
No, I understand. I completely agree. That was you get the ball to the 16-yard line. Thanks for your call, HB. You get the ball to the 16-yard line in that situation. You can't just come away with 3. I went over it earlier. First run was to Emmett Johnson. It was 0 yards. Nice throw to Nair for 7. That ball's thrown inside. He probably gets the first down, maybe scores. It's behind him, so he falls, only getting 7 opposed to getting close to it. So instead of being there at 3rd and 1, where you probably go with Dowdell, instead, they run that mesh concept to the wide side of the field. It's open to Banks. They don't throw the ball. Instead, Raiola comes to the other side and throws the ball to Emmett Johnson to -3 yards. That's a 4-point play. Those 4-point plays is what lose the game for you. It's been that way forever. Let's go back to the phones where George is. Hey, George, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, so this, to me, I haven't listened to anything you guys have said. Not a single thing, no big red overreaction, which is new for me. But I will say, when I watched the end of the game this week and last week with UCLA a couple weeks ago, you saw a team that looked unprepared in the final 2 minutes to understand what was needed and how to get a touchdown when it was needed. This week, our coaches didn't seem to know how to use their timeouts. I mean, you're using a timeout early in the fourth quarter on a 4th and 3 from your own 40-yard line. Okay? You come out and Rule says that he was going to call a fake punt, didn't like the look, and then comes out and takes a delay of game. If you save that timeout, who knows? You could use that timeout later on when it was 4th and 1, and the USC came out and ran that speed option toward the near side of the field, the near boundary. But I'm past the point of frustration, to be honest with you. I've been a fan my whole life, but you can't get that frustrated with this stuff because these are not mistakes that are these are the same mistakes for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And they've fallen from each coach. So I don't know if there's much else to say, but hopefully they can figure it out in these next 2 weeks.
Hey, George, we appreciate the call. That's what I said. It's systematic. You've seen this through multiple defensive coordinators, multiple offensive coordinators, multiple head coaches, multiple quarterbacks, multiple everything. You've seen it over and over again. It's not like a situation where, for example, look at some teams that are bowl qualified now, right? What turned Rutgers around? Well, Rutgers went out and got a coach who's won there before, and he came in and I don't know what you expect. 6, 7, 8 wins out of Rutgers. That's pretty darn good. And then there's multiple other ones. You could talk about Washington. Almost everybody from that team left. Jed Fish comes in there and he's winning games. They're not great. I think they're 6-4, but they're winning games. You look at that team and you think, how are they going to do that? Everybody, either they went to the draft or they went to the portal. He's making it work. It's that way for a lot of coaches. But it's somehow you get in there and you change whatever the core is the problem, and then you go from there. And so far, that core has not been fixed yet. Whether it's some of these old players who've been around for a long time who are accustomed to losing or what, but it hasn't been fixed yet. That's what needs to get fixed. Let's go to KG. What's up, KG?
Hey, my man. So I have a quick question. Because you talked about the long runs. I don't know if you touched base about the running backs visions.
Yeah.
But why are they getting tackled, downfield when they got the advantage? I think that one run, when he had that, I thought that was a touchdown. I don't know what he was thinking. Yeah. What was he doing? I mean, he's done that consistently all year long. That's the thing. That's the most frustrating part. You see those guys break out in the open, you figure touchdown, but it's not. So who's the running backs coach? Or is this just, besides the running backs coach, is it just the players who have not seeing the field like they should? Because I know he's kind of more of a jitter. He tries to juke too much. I don't know if he attacks really well, but he kind of bounces off all right. But it just seems like he's not like hits the line like he should. Or maybe I just seeing it wrong. But I'm just wondering, is it like a coaching thing? Is it the player thing? Where if you're one-on-one with a safety, there's no way you should get tackled. But like the way, because it looks like he just runs right at him. Is just me seeing that, or I just don't know. So I just want to get your input on that.
Yeah, no, KJ, you're right. I mean, Dowdell's not an elusive guy. He'll jump over you, he'll run through you. He's very rarely ever going to make you miss. Now, once he gets vertical, he's a decent running back. But in that situation, he's got to give that guy something, a dead leg or something, and go around him. We'll take one quick break. It'll be our last break for the hour. Then we come back. Rodney, Brian, Kevin, we have full calls. We'll take one last break. We'll come back. It'll be you guys all the way to the end of the show when we come back here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
Snap back. Give it off to Marks. Huskers bury him. That's another tackle for a loss. The polar bear wrestles him to the ground. A loss of at least 3, maybe 4 yards. Back around the 35-yard line. Big-time play by the Huskers' number 0, Nash Hutmaker.
That's the way I see football, right? You just keep developing your players, and then you give them opportunities. And you go out there. If you want to win the game, you block the kick. If you want to win the game, you intercept the ball, or you make the block, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we had a lot of guys make a lot of plays tonight. We probably just needed one more.
Welcome back to Reaction here on 1620 The Zone. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning, Rodney. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. I just wish we had a coaching staff that realize what they have, like their players, and just coach them up. I think they just coach the instinct out of these players, man. I mean, it's just too scripted, and the script's not working. I think if they just play football like football should be played, I think they'd be better off. I don't watch it that much. I hear it more than anything, but I don't hear no 1-2 in the games, man. Like this guy wants to get the ball, or wants to make that tackle, or want to get a block, or want to get a sack. I don't see him flying around or hear him flying around to do anything, man. It's the same thing over and over. It's been almost 20 years.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I appreciate the call, Rodney. I know what you're saying. I understand the frustration on that. Let's go back to Brian. Hey, Brian, what's up?
Hey, Michael. How are you this morning?
I'm okay. I'm all right. How you doing?
Oh, just same.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like everything. Oh, I was going to say that was a good call by Rodney there. I kind of piggyback off that. Yeah, it seems like the people in the stands care more than the players on the field. And I'm kind of really tired of the narrative about wait till year 2 when Rule can do this and wait till year 3. I mean, that's just kind of an excuse in my mind to lower your expectations. Come on. This is Nebraska. This isn't Temple or Baylor. And we deserve better.
Oh,
that's all I got.
I know. I appreciate the call, Brian. It's simple. Okay. I said this earlier. It's not that complicated. For whatever reason, they got to 5 wins again. This has happened multiple times. Even happened under Scott Frost. They got to 5 wins. And when nut cutting time happens, they failed. It's happened multiple times, whether it's against Iowa, against Wisconsin, it's against Maryland, it's against UCLA, it's against USC. It doesn't matter. It's the exact same episode of the Twilight Zone over and over and over again. When it comes to making the play, and like I said, ain't nobody going to do it for you. Ain't nobody going to feel sorry for you. Ain't nobody coming to help you. This is what you got. You have to do it on your own. If you're Malcolm Hartzog, you got to pick the ball off. If you're Tommy Hill, you got to make the tackle when you come up to make the tackle. If you're Gifford, you got to exchange or whatever it is in terms of what you're doing in the secondary to make sure a guy gets covered. You have to do what you're supposed to do. If you're Dowdell, you got to make the guy miss. If you're Dylan Raiola, you got to throw to the open wide receiver for the touchdown. You've got to make a play, and they're failing to make the play. Sitting here with 5 wins again. Was that 8 now? 8 games in a row where they've had a chance to clinch bowl eligibility over the last couple of years and they haven't been able to do it? Same thing over and over again. Make a play. Let's go to Rick. Hey, Rick.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Hey, I was talking to one of the top local coaches recently, and I won't mention names or him or her. But anyway, I asked this individual, I said, when you played out of town, which team was the best you played? And I guessed in the southern part of the country. And the individual answered back. It was a team from Illinois, and it had 5 5-stars on it. And my point I'm trying to make is that when Nebraska plays these teams from the Big Ten, almost all of them have equal or better athletes, especially defensively. When they played Michigan State last year, the defensive backs were better. I think yesterday against Southern Cal, they played man and they got away with it. And Nebraska probably didn't get much separation, or it didn't mesh one way or the other. But I think people need to realize that every week you're playing very good athletes, and you're playing against some of the better coaches. I think the biggest detriment to Nebraska is when you make a commitment of a big monetary value to a skilled individual, and you won't. I would hope one of these reporters would ask Mr. Rule if he has the intestinal fortitude to think about changing that position to Harbaugh if it would benefit the team. All he can say is yes or no, but I think his hands are tied because I think they promised him the world, and that's just my take on it. But I wish him well. I think the Wisconsin game is going to be a Donnybrook, and hopefully they play well. And anyway, the sun will come up the next day regardless. So thanks for taking my call. Appreciate your show.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. Let's go to Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
So I think that the things have risen more that we need a bowl game for those extra 15 practices and our new OC to be able to do that. I really think it's like very important.
Yeah.
And dang it, I forgot my other thought. I don't necessarily agree with him, but I think what he's saying is like we need team leaders. We need some dogs out there like Levante David, Nate Gary. They had some dogs out there, they're fucking. Oh, sorry.
It's all right, man. Thanks, Kevin. Listen, here's the thing. Nebraska has enough talent on the team to win these games. Let me say it one more time. Nebraska has enough talent on both sides of the ball to win these games. They're not getting blown out. They're not getting pushed around. They're not going out there and looking silly. Now, some of the decisions that are made look silly, but they're not looking silly. They're not looking overwhelmed. They have enough talent to win these games. It's not the talent that's losing these games. It's every damn thing else. It's not knocking a ball. Take a break in a second. The ball comes out of the quarterback's hand. It's flying through the air. It hits Javin Wright in the helmet. It bounces then to the wide receiver. Javin then hits it. He makes the catch and gets to 4th and 1 for them to make that play. That's not talent. It's not even luck. Make the play. Take a break. We'll come back, wrap the show up here on 1620 The Zone.
thought our special teams versus some really special returners showed up. We kicked the ball well, kicked off well. We blocked a kick today. So a lot of things that we did well. You take away maybe one play here, one play there, but that's football, and that's the new Big Ten. As I told our guys, this isn't like the old Big Ten West, 17-13. You come out to USC, they've got great players. You're gonna have to make a lot of plays, and so disappointed, but encouraged by some of the things that I saw.
Oh, wrap it up. Severe reaction here following the loss to USC. We'll be back next weekend. Back on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. following Nebraska and Wisconsin. 2:30 start. Hopefully it'll be the celebration that Nebraska's been waiting for 7 seasons. Nebraska making a bowl game again.
Been waiting for that for a long time.
That's a long time. There are a whole lot of kids in Nebraska who have not seen Nebraska go into a bowl game. Defense real quick. Yesterday, gave up 6.6 yards per play. If you put that in rankings, that's 121st in college football. Same as Eastern and Western Michigan. They gave up 441 yards. That puts you at 122nd in the nation with Akron and Buffalo. They gave up 12 big plays for 257 yards. Havoc-wise, 1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, an INT, and 2 pass breakups. They did score 7 points. They did force a fumble that led to 3. So 10 of the points of the 20 did come from stuff the defense did. But in terms of their performance, getting off the field on important third downs, getting off the field on important fourth downs, it was an outright failure by the defense yesterday. And it's okay to say that. Offense struggled in a number of places, but the defense did not pick them up and make the plays necessary to be able to win that game. Other than the special teams, which is kind of funny, neither defense or offense did enough to win that game. And the players on those two, whether it's the offense or the defense, did not do enough to win the game. And that's what you have to do in order to be able to win these games. You make the plays. One of my keys yesterday was taking advantage of the turnover-worthy plays that Maivea would have. And you know what? I counted at least 7 of them. The interception and the fumble, that's 2. 5 others, opportunities to make plays, and they didn't make them. At least that many. He's going to give you the opportunity you knew coming in the game. If you watched any of his tape from UNLV, turnover-worthy machine. Didn't take advantage of it. USC struggled in the third and fourth quarter of these losses. Matter of fact, outscored in the fourth quarter. Yesterday, Nebraska had the opportunity in the red zone. 7-0 fourth quarter, 13-7 second half. You had every opportunity to win the game, and they didn't do it. They'll have every opportunity to beat Wisconsin 6 days from now. We'll be back 7 days from now at 8 a.m. for Severe Reaction. Be me and Joey taking your phone calls and telling you why Nebraska won their 6th game. Hopefully. Back next week.